Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Hello, everyone. Well, we have, again, a lot of news to cover. Again, a shorter video because I'm busy moving stuff in and out of the house. This lovely picture is from Westminster Abbey. Apparently, there are themed evenings on certain Wednesdays each month. They have music and dance and poetry writing, craft, and costumed interpretation. There are themes like the monarchy, modern Britain, and musical. How cool is that? All right. So let's just jump in and get there with both feet, shall we? Let's go. To start off with, the Oxfordshire County Council put up a post congratulating Kim James, who is head of the School Improvement and Learning, for being presented with an MBE for services to education from the Princess Royal, Princess Anne. Way to go. All right, we're going to move on to King Charles. There have been massive protests all across France against President Emmanuel Macron's national pension reforms. Now, what he's done is he's raised the retirement age. People are very unhappy. I believe they raised it from like 62 to 64. And as a result, the first state visit by King Charles III has had to be rescheduled for the summertime. He was supposed to begin his visit as part of a 4-day visit to France on Sunday. They actually were going to have a huge banquet at the Palace of Versailles that I'm sure would have been just lovely. But there has been so much civil unrest. Even the entrance to the city hall was set alight during one of the demonstrations. So it looks like the French labor unions announced a new day of strike and protest action for the same day that King Charles was scheduled to show up. So France's president said, we're going to have to postpone and do it at another time because it's just not safe. Now, Britain's Prime Minister's office said that the decision to postpone the visit was, quote, taken with the consent of all parties involved, given yesterday's announcement of a new National Day of Actions. So, yeah, they'll have to reschedule. For those of you who are unaware of this, over 1 million people took to the streets in France Thursday. The age was raised from 62 to 64. This is the 9th day that there have been protests, and there's been a lot of violence and vandalism. There was protests, it's being reported, in more than 200 towns and cities across France. And there were more people on the streets and more violence on the sidelines as people vented their anger. Now, apparently, Mr. Macron did a televised interview 2 days ago. And during the interview, people noticed that he was wearing what appears to be an $80,000 watch on his wrist. And mid-interview, he put his arm down, and mid-interview, it came off of his arm. I think he realized that it was, that people could see it, and he was like, oh, I should probably take this thing off. So he did. I mean, if these numbers that were put up on Twitter are correct, as far as the protest goes, that's a lot. That's not good. The president finally put out a statement, of course, in French. Now, people are feeling, let me just point out, people feel that this whole thing is unfair. Because, for instance, women are upset because they said that this alters their plans for the future because they were promised reforms would improve their situation when they took time off from work to look after children. But now they'll have to work another 44 years to get a full pension, which means many women will be worse off than the men. Not kidding. Wow. So they're saying that they're probably going to reschedule this trip for some time in the summer. Again, it was supposed to begin this Sunday. It was supposed to be a 3-day trip. And then Charles was supposed to head off to France. And now the trip to Berlin will proceed as planned between the 29th and the 31st of March. So that's still going ahead. It's just the trip to France that's being stopped because they said the incidents are just detestable. Now, this postponement, they're saying, will be a major embarrassment for the French president because he hoped the trip would be a quote-unquote symbolic step in the two countries' efforts to turn a page after years of poor relations post-Brexit. Yeah. It was also seen as a coup for Mr. Macron because he has sought to position himself as Europe's de facto leader. All right, moving on. Now we're going to move on with King Charles and what happened with Frogmore. And what they're saying in the news now is Charles is not a housing association for distant relatives, and that getting rid of Frogmore with Harry and Meghan was just the start of the slimmed down monarchy that he's been talking about for a very long time. He's shaking up a lot of royal finances, including stopping his family getting, special rates on crown properties. I mean, they're saying that Prince Andrew only pays £250 a week for his 30-room Royal Lodge mansion. And so this is part of the problem. No subsidized rents for royals. Even some of the working royals, or he's telling them now you're going to have to pay for your homes. Now, also, Charles is looking at plans to pay staff competitive salaries and pensions. So you get the best people, and with that, some people are going to be let go. It's staff cutbacks because he's looking to reduce expenses. I mean, I get it. He's slimming it down. So it's value for the money is what they're calling it. So what it comes down to is he's trying to reduce the number of royals with financial dependence on the crown, and he's also trying to get the best value for his money from those on the payroll. They're saying sometimes less is more, and so that's what he's doing. I mean, I get it. I do. All right, moving on. All right, here we go. We know that Prince William made a surprise trip to Poland's border with Ukraine this week while Russia continues to attack. And of course, as soon as Putin found out that he was there, he merely calls him, quote, the son of Charles. And he has tried to use this trip to heighten tensions with the West. But the prince was very welcome on this trip by both the Polish and the Ukrainian forces. Everybody was very happy to see him. They're calling him William Charles Ovich. All right, moving on. All right, next up, poor Thomas Markle was seen going through the airport with his son, Thomas Markle Jr. He doesn't look well, as you can see. He's got a cane. I guess he's having trouble walking. And guess who took the pictures? Back grid. Paps for hire. Interesting. All right, moving on. Next up, thank you to Laird of the Manor on Twitter, who actually Googled the word professional victim. And I kid you not, when you click on the images, this is what comes up. Remember, we did the whole I'm sick of, and when you did that, it came up the Sussexes. Well, now when you put in professional victim, it gives you this definition. And then when you hit images, this is what it brings up. Oh my God. Like, you just can't make this up. I'm telling you. All right, moving on. Next up, we all know that Harry and Meghan got an invitation to the coronation, and now they're making all kinds of crazy demands. And so this article basically points it out. Don't apologize. Don't put them on the balcony and revoke their invitation, because they are bottomless pits of want and greed who have mercilessly savaged the royal family. I have to agree. The king needs to draw a line in the sand and say, well, I would like you there. This is not a family event. It's a state event. And, this just isn't going to work out. Take it back. All right, moving on. Moving on to Prince Harry, he has appointed former Strictly Come Dancing contestant J.J. Chalmers to the board of Invictus Games. He was apparently badly injured in Afghanistan in 2011 while he was a Royal Marine. And he has now been made a trustee of the foundation. And he himself is a former participant in the games. Wow, somebody who earned something through his own personal sacrifice for once. That's a twist. Harry could learn from him. Next up, they're saying that Harry would roll joints among his feeling of safety in America. Basically, he was using drugs in Tyler Perry's house. We know beyond the marijuana, he's been snorting cocaine, taking magic mushrooms. If Tyler Perry was smart, he'd have his house swept for illegal drugs before somebody goes and raids it and finds him. Moving on. All right, we have a blind item talking about several very high dollar loans made to Meghan Markle. They're questioning how the loans were made, where they came from, how they're going to be paid back. Does that surprise me? No, not the way she goes through money. All right, here we go. This is the kind of stuff that irritates me. Okay, former Lance Corporal Stephen Van Nykirk from Taunton in Somerset. He was hit by an improvised explosive device, an IED. He lost his left leg at the hip, his right leg below the knee, and 5 fingers. So he needed a car. He had a Grand Jeep Cherokee that was taken in for constant mechanical problems. So what they did was they stepped in, this car SOS group stepped in, restored the vehicle, gave him back the vehicle, and then, as a surprise, here comes Harry. I hope at this point you're sitting in your brand new, or certainly what looks like a brand new Jeep. Good for you, mate. And he said some nice things about him. But here's what it comes down to. Harry didn't pick the car. Harry didn't pick the guy. Harry had nothing to do with the restoration. Harry did absolutely nothing but record a message. This is what he's been reduced to. He simply recorded a message like any person could. He's not special anymore. You get where I'm going with this? Did he pay to restore the car? No. Did he work on the car? No. Did he have anything to do with this guy's car being chosen for repairs? No. He simply gave a message, and all of a sudden the story, instead of going about this SOS car group who did a wonderful thing and this disabled guy, suddenly it's all about Harry. So once again, here's Harry taking the limelight when he really wasn't that involved. Yeah. All right, moving on. And we have one more blind item that came out saying that basically Harry and Meghan, remember she was meeting with that billionaire for lunch all the time? Well, come to find out, according to the blind item, she was attempting to get a $5 million loan from that guy so that they could get a different house. Well, that goes in with the other blind item, doesn't it, about the loans? All right, moving on. Now, I'm ending this video with the fabulous news that Murky Meg has made it back onto Twitter. Yes, so if you guys remember, Christopher Boozy had Murky Meg thrown off, Yankee Wally thrown off, Megan's Mole thrown off. All 3 have recovered their Twitter accounts, and the only person who's been thrown off of YouTube who has yet to be able to return is Yankee Wallet. And believe me, you guys, we're working on that. So welcome back, Meg. Now, I ended with this picture yesterday, but people asked me if I ever did a doggy DNA test. I did. It's like 2 years ago. I put it in one of my videos. I'll have you know that Finn is a Heinz 57. He had some toy poodle, some Pomeranian. He had some Great Pyrenees. Yes, he's got a little bit of everything in him. It was the craziest thing. So I think the Pomeranian is where he gets the ears from. The poodle, I don't see at all. But the Great Pyrenees, I think, is in his attitude. All right, you guys, you know what I want. Leave those comments and make them good. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell. If you've already hit the button, double check to make sure you're still subscribed, because some people are still being unsubscribed. Don't forget to go into the description box and get the links to my Twitter, my Getter, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon. There's a physical address there just in case you want to send something. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund and through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.